Hey, we made it back another week.
We made it through another week.
It was a
So
good week,
I got to
though.
do my other thing.
Oh,
Where's my
boy,
music?
You got to do your
Thank
dance.
God it's Friday.
You know what? I'm going to get you some theme music
Friday.
because every
Ooh.
hero needs their
Woo!
theme music.
All right. I'm a hero. I'm a shero.
That's right.
You got to give me some music.
Yeah, because you just like to dance, don't
that's
you?
right. I love it on Friday
Yeah.
because we get to spend the weekend together. Not that we stop working, but at least we do less work because it's the weekend. So our
right.
minds tell us to decompress a little bit.
Talk to me, baby. That's
All
why
right.
we get to spend some good quality time together.
So for you who don't know, this Jason and Tina Marie here
Yep.
on Friday doing our Friday Night Live to talk with you guys about relationships. Not just any relationships, but
Marriage and relationship.
marriage and
and
relationships.
relationships, yeah.
So we're here to talk about marriage and relationships and taking marriages off of cruise control.
That's right.
So if your marriage is on cruise control, and you know if it's on cruise control because
And you know it's on cruise control.
absolutely. We know because we haven't done the work that we need to put in to get the results that we want, which means that if you're not spending every day, happy, ecstatic, and just feeling the bliss of the very first time you got married, then we know we're not putting the work in. And so it does take work. It takes intention. It takes work. It takes dedication. And so that's why we're here to help you guys understand what it takes to take your marriage off cruise control and be back in the driver's seat. So even for those people who, may not be married, right?
Right.
Right?
But
so
you may be in a relationship.
you may be in a
long
relationship,
term.
or you're hoping to get in a relationship.
Yep.
So any knowledge is power. Or you may know someone who's married, and you can tell that their marriage is on cruise control.
You
So
know,
maybe
if
you
know
can.
somebody that's married and you're not, why don't you just forward this link and share it with them?
That's right. So you can share this information with anyone. So we tell you to like, subscribe, and share. All right. So that's what we're trying to do tonight.
So we got a lot to be excited about.
We got a lot to be excited about. A lot. I think last week we did announce it that our program we finally got the program out.
Yes. So we're going to launch that now, and we also released an ebook as well, and we're super excited about that.
So that comes later in the conversation. But right now we're going to talk about usually what we do. So as always, if you guys have not listened to this week's episode, and I hope Jason got it together because we have busy. So did you get this week's episode? So every Wednesday an episode comes out
Yes.
on Loving Beyond the I Do podcast.
Mm-hmm.
That's our podcast, and it's on love and relationships. And every Wednesday a new episode drops. So if you have not taken the time to listen to this week's episode, you should, especially if you are a successful woman and you want to have a successful relationship. So this was particularly talked about married women, successful women can have a
juggling
successful
everything.
marriage. Juggling everything.
And not feeling guilty because you're giving so much time to the job or to the career and not enough to the home. So
And
it's
just,
finding a good balance.
It was about a balance, but also learning how to understand how to incorporate your mate. Right? We don't have to be the superhero all the time. So lots of times women, we put these burdens on ourselves because we become married and we think that it's our responsibility to do everything, right? So we want you to understand that you can have it all. You can have a successful career and
I
a
want it
successful,
all.
that's right, and a successful marriage.
Right.
We just have to learn how to balance it. We don't put all of the weight on our shoulders when we have a mate that shares that, right? As
That's
well
right.
as at work. So Sasha talks about that we had the episode with Sasha. What's Sasha's last name?
I don't remember.
Okay, so we're going to call her Miss Sasha. And she talks about, she deals with powerful women in powerful positions or, very successful women who are
Yes.
learning to balance both home and work. All right. So if you haven't listened to this week's episode, that was Wednesday. It came out. It's called Successful Women Can Have Successful Marriages. Right. We don't have to choose between one or the other.
No, we can have a flourishing career and also a happy home. But there's a balance. When you at work, you dedicate that time and effort to that career. When you're at home, you need to dedicate that time and effort to your home.
And understanding what it takes. So Sasha kind of breaks it down a little bit more in depth about how she helps women to balance those things, whether it's with kids or without kids. She really gets, transparent
Oh, she does.
about how to do it and what you can do and what is possible. So that week's episode was episode number 110, and you can find it on anywhere you listen to podcasts, which is, that's your cue.
You can get it from anywhere. You can get it from Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, you name it, we're there.
You can also look at it on YouTube and look up our channel, Love and Beyond the I Do, or you can go to our website at legendaryrelationship.com and you can find everything there, or you can go to legendaryrelationship.com/info and you can find all the links to the podcast, to the Friday Night Lives, to the freebies, to whatever, to our Facebook. You can find it all there. That's another place you can get it from.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions or information that you want for us, you can always shoot us an email at info@legendaryrelationship.com. So tonight's conversation, and I know sometimes you guys probably think I do a lot of the talking.
You do.
That's because my what do you call those producers?
Yeah.
What do you call?
Yeah.
So
I'm in the background. Well, I'm in the front, and I'm also in the background running all this. So
he makes it possible for all these little things to pop up, all the questions, all the comments to come in. So lots of times he has a lot to say, and I take his ideas because we've discussed it beforehand, and I'll just put it out there because he's trying to make sure that he's getting all of the
comments, and I want you guys to have a good experience. We want to get out the information, but in a particular way. So
Yes.
we just want to make sure that it's all great for you guys. So
it may look like I'm doing a lot of the talking,
That's okay,
which
man.
I am, but it's because he has so many
It's-
other duties that he's taking care of, and all I have to do is talk.
that's it. That's all you have to do.
All right. So again, let you know, if you are out there viewing, our viewers, we cannot see who is actually online with us tonight. So if you want us to shout you out and say
Shout
hello,
you
thank
out.
you for joining us, please just write a comment or say hello
Hey.
or whatever. Just write something in the comments. You can do it on YouTube, right?
Yeah, definitely. YouTube and Facebook.
So just put
Facebook,
something out
all
there.
of them, yes.
As Miss Vicky Thomas said today, hello family, Earl and Vicky in the house. All right, Earl and Vicky.
All the time. Yes.
All right. So I hope, Vicky, that you have received our #1 fan badge.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have, but I hope that you have.
Yeah.
So we don't know who gets them. They give them out randomly to people who tune in or whatever. So we hope that you have gotten one. If you haven't, hang in there. Hopefully you will. So Gail Kilo is in the house.
Gail,
She
how are you?
says, "Hey family." All
Hey,
right.
what's
So
going
Gail
on?
is in the
What's
house
going on?
tonight. All right. So again, we cannot see who's on. And if you just want us to shout you out, to say hello to you, thank you for joining us, please just type a comment or something in the comment section so that we can recognize you and say thank you. All right. So tonight's conversation is, we have heard, Jason and I have been talking about this since forever, before we
yes.
even started doing relationships, right?
Yep.
Years and years ago. Whose song is that? Marvin Gaye?
What's going on?
I want 40, 30. Who sings that song?
Oh, that's Teddy Pendergrass.
Oh, that's what I
Yep.
was thinking in my
Yeah.
mind.
60-40.
60-40, 30-20, no, 60-40, 30-70, 80-20, right? We
Right.
talk about how much you should give in a relationship. And oftentimes in the past, we've heard people say, give 50-50. And Jason and I, but because, it don't take some amount of time for it to get out there, Jason and I have always said that we give 100-100. And that has been our motto, 100-100,
Yep.
right? And so what we would say is that Jason would always say, well, why would you give 50?
Ooh.
Right? So what was your comment with 50?
50% of anything is an F.
It's an F. So
And
if
it's
you're
failing.
if you're in school and you get a 50,
Whew.
does that mean that you're passing? Does that mean you're giving all of the effort that you could give? So
I hope not.
right.
Not at 50%.
So what did Gail say? Can we get Gail's
Yeah,
comment?
she's driving. She's driving but listening. Thank you
All
for
right.
driving but listening.
All right,
Yes,
all
yes,
right. Thank you. Thank you, Gail. That's
we do
commitment.
appreciate that.
Yes. So
And tell Jesse we said, hey.
yes. So we wanted to go deeper into that, right?
Yes.
Because we have heard the saying say 100-100, right? Give 100% of yourself and expect 100% of your mate. But in the midst of coaching and being around couples and being a part of organizations, we realize that we think we're giving 100%, but what are we really giving 100% of?
You're right. We may be giving 100%, but are we giving the 100% that our relationship needs?
Right. So we can give 100% of, I can't do it today. We can be given 100% of, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
We can be given 100% of, I don't want to do it, or, that bugs me, or I'm tired of her asking me, or I'm tired of him asking me. What are we really giving 100% of? So lots of times we think that we're giving 100% in the relationship. Even at work, we think that we're giving 100%.
Yep.
So tonight's episode is basically about, for us individually, to take an inventory of what are you giving 100% of?
Or what are you giving your relationship? So the question of the day is, how much of yourself are you
really giving?
Right.
And what are you giving 100% of?
Right.
Right. So,
and this is like a self-assessment, right? So you
Absolutely.
listen, we all think we own the ball. So this is like a self-assessment for you. All right, what are you actually giving to your relationship?
even myself, right? So after I would work, right? So I've given, 40% to my job, right? And then I had to come home and clean. I would give maybe another 20%, right? And then I had to be able to be a mom and give them. So that's another 20%. Whereas I'm giving 100% to my relationship, but when it comes down to it at night, when it's time for me and Jason to have our time together, I'm depleted. I'm tired. I'm irritated. I don't want to be bothered. So I think that I'm showing up at 100%, but I'm really not giving 100% of myself to my relationship, right? So at the end of the day, once I've given everything to everybody else, and I haven't even given anything to myself yet, right? So
that becomes a problem.
Exactly. Yeah. So I feel as though I'm at that point. We all are, right? I deserve some time for me. I deserve some me time, and so therefore,
we don't get no us time.
Exactly. So we're not really. We think we're giving 100% in our relationships, but we're really not. So this is a time to take an inventory for you to ask yourself, am I really, truly giving 100% in my marriage? And when I say that, think about all the things you do all day. And when it's time for you to show up for your marriage or for your mate or for your husband, we do the things sometimes we want to do, not the things we need to do or we should do, right? And there's a difference. So, but it all boils down to, we want that happy, successful, marriage where it's respected. Right. Sure. We want that, but sometimes we're not giving all of that. And I know Jason and I, another one of our things is that lots of times we want our mate to be more loving, more respectful, more, excuse me. And so we do things to try to get that, if that makes sense. So, what do you want from your spouse, right? We say, well, I want him to be more loving. I want him to be more understanding. But at the same token, are you being that? In return for what you want, are you being more loving? Or are you acting out in a manner where it says, I want you to be more loving, but you're not giving them love in return? Oh. So this is all about, how much of yourself are you really giving? Right. And if I'm not putting back into myself, right, if I'm not giving myself what I need, then how can I expect to give you and to show up 100% in our relationship?
You can't.
Right.
You can't. That's why I say we got to get real with ourselves. Right. So we always saying, look, I give 100% just because you're there.
Just because you're there. Or you've taken out the garbage, or you've cooked a meal or two.
One event don't mean that you've given 100%.
It's the whole thing of things. That's what we have to realize. A relationship is 360, right? It's the entire thing that we're looking at. It's not, sometimes we get laser focused on the things that we're doing.
Yep.
So we think that our mate isn't showing up because we're doing so much. And then that becomes a problem, right? I'm giving all, I'm giving too much, I'm doing everything. And so you feel as though you don't need to give anymore, your mate does. But the truth is that, are you really giving as much as you think you're giving? And are you showing up in your marriage the way you want your marriage to be?
Now, I want you guys to be able to share. That's the question of the day. That's what that QOTD means, question of the day. How much of yourself are you giving to your relationship? So I would like for this to be a two-way communication or a two-way conversation, all right? I can tell you a bunch of hypotheticals, but it's nice if I can get some feedback here and kind of find out exactly, where you're at and what you're kind of thinking. Maybe you can give a comment for a friend. You know what I'm saying? So, it may not be your particular relationship, but your friend's relationship.
That's right. Say, I'm asking for a friend.
Right. So give a friend's response.
And so we have another comment before I go into this next one.
Yeah.
Hello, Bernadine. How are you?
Hello, Bernadine.
It's from Chauvel and Moore. All right.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
That's
we really
right.
appreciate
That's
it.
right.
Yes.
So, and it brings up another point. Sometimes we are always showing up for other people, right?
Yes.
We want to be that person that if someone calls on you, you can say, I'm there. You can count on me.
Oh.
And so sometimes when we give so much of ourselves outside the home, it doesn't give us enough to give inside of the home.
So when we come home and we're too tired to give too much or give enough to our relationship.
Oh,
we let some
exactly,
things fall off.
exactly.
Because you only have
And-
so
and
much.
that's what-
you only have so much of yourself to give.
And that's with church.
Yes.
That's with family. That's with outside activities. That's
Right.
with things that we volunteer for.
Right.
There's so many different things that we are a part of on a daily basis. And then we feel as though we've, met our quota. We've met our quota for the
Yeah.
day when we get home. And it's so sad that the things that we take out, the person who we love the most, right? So
That's
Jason
right.
is the person that I love the most. This is the man that I have chosen to spend my life with. But he's also the one that I feel like it's okay for me to neglect him at times. And so people might say, well, what do you mean by that?
Sure.
I mean by if I'm depleted and I'm upset and I'm on edge and he says something to me, he would be the first person that would get the end of all of that coming
loving,
down.
That loving, that loving response.
No,
right?
that non-loving response. Exactly.
yeah.
And we
I get
don't
it.
see that. So because they are the closest to us, sometimes we take it out on those who are our mates, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
even our children. But this conversation is about relationships. And it's not just husband and wife. It's the relationship with whomever you have in your household, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes we come home I'm guilty of it. I do it with my daughter. If I'm frustrated and I have a lot going
Yep.
on and
And I
she's
say, hey,
asking,
baby, how you doing? It's just like, like, okay, I just walked into something.
Right.
But that's okay.
Right. So as Gail said, right, so both in two cents, Gail. So I'm gonna need you to expound on
She's
that.
driving.
Right. But she can talk to the phone. So when you say give without limitations,
Right.
do you mean we should give our spouse without limitations, or sometimes we give to outside activities without limitations, and then when we come home, we place limitations on things that we don't want to do because we have given so much
much
of
for
ourselves, and we don't even see it
This
or
should be in
realize
the
it.
relationship, right? Because we know people are always giving in nature, majority of the time, right? We can give to an outside source all day long. People are leaning on us. We could be a shoulder to cry on for other people, but are we doing the same things in our relationship? And that's what we're trying to get at.
And it's not just giving in the relationship, it's showing up,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's showing up when your mate just needs you to be there.
Right.
Showing up, not just doing chores.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
but then also it's when your mate needs you, but may not say that he needs you
Exactly.
or she needs you.
Exactly.
You need to be able to
Exactly.
recognize that the person needs you at this particular time.
Or even to the fact of like you've done everything, right? You're like it's the end of the day and you've pretty much done everything that you've wanted to accomplish for the day. Now it's you look at your mate and they're supposed to cook dinner or clean up or do the dishes or whatever it may be, and they haven't done it, right? How would you feel if you were in that position? So we have to make sure that we're being that type of mate in the relationship that we want our mate to be.
When it's time to be in a relationship, when it's time to give that 100% to that relationship, we need to be there. So many, we've had so many conversations with couples, and the things that come up are, I'm not heard, and we're really not present with each other.
Or the expectations that they put on me, right?
Right.
Right.
You
So
expect me to do all of these different things, but then I'm not getting anything in return.
and so then we stop being 100%.
Right.
Right.
Now we're picking and choosing, which is not the best thing to do in the first place. But when you start putting stipulations on, like, I'll do this if you do that, but if I get this, then maybe I'll do that.
Or I'm not going to do this because they haven't done that. And that's
Right.
what we mean
without
by taking.
without having a conversation, right? So if we have a conversation, I would like this is where I'm at. I need you to be more loving or caring, or I need you to give me the things that I need to have, right? Then you can say, okay, we talk about it's like, okay, then I don't have a problem with giving you whatever it is that your needs and wants.
Right.
But I need some things too. So if you have that conversation, you're not going back and forth about, I'm not doing that because they didn't get that to me. Now everything's on the table. I know that, my wife needs this, Tina needs this, and I need to give it to her, right? Not just because I want to get what I want, but if she's happy, then the relationship happy, then I'm happy.
So oftentimes the expectations that we put on ourselves are huge, right? We want to be able to be everything for everybody at every time. And so therefore what happens is that we put those same expectations on our mate. We put those same expectations on our children. We put those same expectations on the people who are closest to us, that because we feel as though we're giving everything, or we feel as though we're giving 100%, we want you to do the same thing. However, everybody's 100% is different. 100% in the relationship means I'm all in. I'm committed. It doesn't mean I'm going to do what you want me to do when you want me to do it. That doesn't represent 100%.
Right.
So I know we have some more. So Regina's in the house. She's throwing us, what was this? This is Vicky. We have to make sure we plan some personal time together.
Right.
And it's just to getting to know each other, right? Because as we've said before, we change.
Right.
When we come into a relationship, sometimes, and I was telling Jason, sometimes I need to give more than 100%, because by the time I've given myself to everybody else and I get home, I'm tired.
Right.
And I want him to
I
understand.
want my part. Don't be too tired when you come home from me.
And so I want him to understand that, but the truth is that's wrong on my part.
Yep,
I'm
don't cheat
neglecting
me.
him for my 100% in this marriage. He didn't ask me to go out and volunteer to
Nope.
every place that it
Right.
said I need a volunteer.
That's right.
So, but
And vice versa, because we both do a lot of volunteering and a lot of help and people lean on us for various different things, and we're very helpful people. We don't mind doing that, but it cannot come at a sacrifice. Our relationship, it can't come at a price at our relationship.
Exactly.
That's the most important thing.
And sometimes it even comes in the way of your kids. So we talked about that last time too, right? Sometimes we give so much to our children that when we're depleted, we're physically and emotionally drained. And so we don't have anything else to give to the relationship. So I did want to say, Regina had said, give us some hands up. So hi, Regina.
Hey,
Glad
Regina.
you're out there. Glad you're tuning
Thank you
in.
so
Thank
much.
you, everyone.
Appreciate it.
So we also want to know that, so like I said, just being aware of what we're giving 100% of. If we're sitting back not doing things because we want our mate to do something, you're not 100% in.
Right.
Sometimes we're biased at what we think we're giving. Right? I'm giving 100%. I'm 100% dedicated to this relationship. But if you're giving attitude, if you're giving,
Whoa.
right, you're not showing up, you're not
Right.
being present, you're not being aware of your mate's needs, right? Or when I say needs, like sometimes people have a rough day and we both have to exercise leniency and understanding to our mate. We have to be more than just being, it's all about me, it's all about me.
We have to be that shoulder to cry on for our mate. We may be there for our friends, and we may be the go-to person for our friends, but are we there for our mate? Like if we are having a hard time.
That day. Right. Sometimes people just
I
want
just need you to listen.
Right.
Sometimes I don't need you. It's like, well, you should have left that job a long time ago. You should not deal with that person. Maybe so. But I just need to be able to talk to you about it. And that's it sometimes.
I always say that whatever is Jason's problem is my problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope everyone in a relationship feels the same way. And I know that they don't, because, we had a couple that her husband didn't like his job. Right? He didn't like his job. He was having a hard time with it. And when we spoke to her about it, she was like, that's not my problem. That's his problem. If he didn't like it, if he doesn't like his job, then why doesn't he just leave? But what we have to understand in marriage is that whatever is Jason's problem is my problem. Whatever my problem is Jason's problem.
100%.
If we tackle problems together, then it can't come between us and become a problem. The whole part of showing up 100% means that whatever needs to be done, we're both 100%, we're both available. Not just, I know sometimes, we're all guilty of it. Your mate is talking to you and you're either, as we talked about last week, Vicky, right? You're on your phone, or you're listening to watching the television, or you're doing something else.
And
You're
you're
talking,
really not present.
and you're really not present. You're
No.
really not paying attention. Is that being 100%? Right? Does your mate feel as though that you're giving them 100% of your attention?
Right.
And so we did promise an ebook, and so we did get the ebook out. And so the ebook kind of goes over all these things in relationships about, as Vicky said, making time for each other, going on dates. And as we said, don't let date night become a routine. The problem with marriages is that it's a routine. We're doing the same thing, expecting a different outcome. We already know that that's the definition of insanity, right?
Right.
So we have to do something different. We have to show up 100%. And we have to ask ourselves, what am I not doing in this relationship that I should be doing? What am I not giving, right? Because we feel as though because we're giving 100% to this area and 100% to this area, that we don't have to do all these other areas. All of it is
Well,
a
when I get
relationship.
home, I'm tired. I don't really want to be bothered. I'll just give me some time to be by myself.
Whatever
which
it
is
is.
fine at times.
Whatever it is.
But you still have to give your 100% to your mate.
So that we don't run out of time, let's go into our ebook. So we want you this week to ask yourself, am I in every area of my marriage or my relationship, am I actually showing up 100% of myself? Am I showing up in the way that I want my mate to show up? We pick and choose what we want and what we want our mate to do, but then we forget about the things that we're neglecting that we haven't done, right? So marriage is about being 100% in of the positive things.
For sure.
Not the negative things that I can tell you what you're doing wrong, but me being able to evaluate myself and say, where am I slacking? What department do I need to step up my game? And so our ebook,
Yeah, what's up, baby?
I was just going to say, what do you want them to get? So
it's the ebook, right? So it's a free download. You just go to legendaryrelationship.com and you just click on ebook and you'll get it downloaded. It's awakening the love and intimacy in your relationship. 8 simple ways to wake it up. You know why we say that? Because you know that after a while we start to take each other for granted.
And we start,
we put our relationship on cruise control.
Everything else becomes important because now we have the marriage, we have we have everything we think we need. And so we stop doing all those things that we did in the beginning, which is our attention and our time.
Right.
And it's not intentional. Sometimes we do get busy
Yep.
and we think it's okay to, just our marriage just be okay. He's right there, right? But marriage is about more than that.
For
So
sure.
the ebook is awaken the love and intimacy in your relationship. And so again, we do talk about marriage here. And so go to legendaryrelationship.com and download the ebook, and there's 8 simple ways to help you wake it back up. Things that we don't think about, things that we want, but maybe our mate is not aware of. So not only download it for you, but download it, maybe even print a copy or leave it up on your computer. So, because sometimes when we tell our mate to read stuff, they don't want to read it because we told them to read it, right? So we have to leave it up so they can go, what is
But
that?
it's something that you need to work at, right? This is not one of those books that you get and you're like, oh, you read a couple pages. No, it's some information in this, right?
So
that can really help you out.
What I always say is that when we want to know how to do something, if I wanted to know how to change a tire, I would Google it. If Jason wasn't here, I would Google it, right?
Yep.
If we want to know how to do something, most of the time we go to Google University. Everybody knows the Google, and if you haven't, shame on you. But in order for us to learn something that we want to know, it's not just going to Google and looking at it. It's actually applying it. Okay, this is how I do it. This is what I do. It's the same thing in marriage, and this is what we mean by being intentional. Being able not only download the book, not only read it, but apply it.
Yep.
Do it. See if it
Applied
works.
knowledge is
you know what?
important.
As people say, humor us. Try it. See if any of these things work. They have worked in our relationship. They have worked in when we coach other people in their relationships. So what we want you to do is download the book. And if you're not in a marriage right now, tell someone else where to get it from.
Yep.
Because as we said before, our goal is to spread the word that we can have the marriages that we desire. How? By being intentional. How? By recognizing that we can't just hit the button and put it on cruise control. We have to be in charge of our marriages, just like we're in charge of our careers, we're in charge of our children, we are in charge of our finances. We have to do the same thing when it comes to relationships. So download the book and read it and apply it. Bernadine said, it's the little things you notice and attend to, and they know you're listening to them. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And
It don't have to be the major things all
and
the
I
time,
know when
for sure.
Jason's not listening because he'll be pretending like he's listening.
I'm nodding. Yep.
Yep, he's
And I
nodding.
give an occasional glance over there, right?
And then I'll ask a question.
And I go, I'm like, what are you talking about?
Or he'll say something way out of whack. And so this book addresses that. It addresses the things that we should do. It talks about why we should continue to date our spouse. And we're not talking about going out on a date night. We're talking about dating. What exactly is dating? When you started dating someone, you spent that intimate time getting to know that person. That's what we want you to do in your relationships. Get to know the person that you're married to now. The person that I was yesterday.
Yeah, a few minutes ago.
Right, a few minutes. It all changes.
Yes.
We're constantly
fine.
evolving and changing, and I hope that we're changing for the better. But nonetheless, as we change, sometimes we change and we don't realize that our spouse has changed, right? The things they used to like, they no longer like. The things they wanted to do, they no longer want to do.
Right.
So we have to continue to date, and that means the conversations, the intimate times, the moments, the shared time, so that we can get to know the person that we're married to now. And this also applies to your children, right?
For sure.
Our kids grow up. They have their own identity. They have their own thoughts. They have their own journey.
Yeah, they
And
do.
we have to be able to keep the lines of communication open, because we want them to know that they can always depend on their parents, right? We want them to be able to stand on their own 2 feet, but we have to continue to know who they're becoming, who they are now. We can't treat them how they used to be. So did Vicky say something?
Oh yeah, Vicky said a mouthful.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So Vicky said, this is Earl. So excuse me, this is Earl. Each one of us are raised in different families and different environments and may not know to give 100% in all areas. Absolutely, Earl. We have to learn how to expect the efforts of our spouse in helping them to come up with to the level you both agree on. Absolutely.
Absolutely,
Couldn't have
100%.
said it better, Earl.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Background is the key here, because of the way that we were raised and the environment in which we were raised in. Now,
It's
I don't
not
know-
just that, but I don't want to break you off, but as he said, when we think we're giving 100%, right? Right. And so your mate is sitting over here going, he's lacking in this, and you're over here saying she's lacking in that. But the point is, if we don't talk about it, we don't communicate,
Right.
in our minds, we think we're giving 100% to this marriage.
Right.
Right. What more do you want me to give?
Right.
I'm giving 100% of myself. But 100% of
you-
what? Of what are you giving?
And if you ask anyone, they go, "Yeah, man, I'm all in. I'm doing everything. I take out the garbage, I do the shopping, or I may do this and do that." I'm like, "Yeah, but did you ever talk to your wife about these things? How she feels about it? Because in her mind, she may expect something else."
Or it's not expect. It's more, I wouldn't say both, right?
Yeah,
So
I mean,
they may
it could be
expect it,
or what you're
oh,
accustomed to, right?
It
It
is
could have
what
been how you were raised.
it's how our marriage should be defined, where we both know
Right.
that we're giving 100%. So we're both on the same page, we're in alignment, and we're moving in the same direction. One person is not assuming, and the other person is thinking they're on point. So Nancy Smith says, "Hey fam, going to get that ebook." All
Yep,
right,
it's
all
free,
right.
right?
It's free. So
right.
a legendaryrelationship.com. Click on the free ebook. It's Awaken the Love and Intimacy in Your Relationship. 8 simple ways. 8. You can do anything for 8. 8
Yep.
simple ways to wake it up, right? And as I said before, oftentimes, and again, I've said this before, oftentimes when we're coaching people, I ask them, how much literature have you read on marriage?
And what do they say, baby? What do they say?
I would say, like I said, out of 100 couples, I would
Mm-hmm.
say 98 of them have done nothing.
Zero.
Only two of them have ever read a marriage or relationship book.
Taking any classes,
Taking any classes, any type
anything of learning or anything, just studying anything.
And again, that's culture, right?
Yeah.
That's our environment. That's how we were raised. But the thing is that if we want more, we have to do more.
Mm-hmm.
It's not up to our mate to make everything better for us. If we feel like we're in a spot and we don't know how to get out of it, it's up to us to figure out, well, what am I doing wrong, or what am I not aware of?
Right.
What are we not, as Earl said, if we're not aware of what that 100% is and helping your mate get up to the level where you both are on the same page, how do you expect to get there? So we're
can't.
talking about taking marriages
Yeah, you
off cruise
can't.
control. If you're going to take it off, that means you got to jump in the driver's seat. What does jump in the driver's seat mean?
That means you have to hit the gas pedal, the brake. You have to pay attention to the road. You got to use
You
the turn signals.
You
all of
are
this stuff.
responsible. You are responsible, not my mate.
And you have to know where you're going, right?
Absolutely.
Cruise control,
Absolutely.
you can just kind of be driving. You know, on the highway, you're just driving. You're not paying any attention to anything.
Done that.
But yeah, miss an exit. You really need to know where you're going. You're gonna have to drive this marriage the way in the direction that you want to. That's the most important thing. Not just whatever happens.
So start these conversations with your mate. What type of marriage do you want, right? And we talk
I'm gonna
about
go
that
back
in
to
the book,
I'm gonna go
right?
back to the question of the day. So the question of the day, if for those who came later, the question of the day is how much of yourself are you giving to your relationship? One, giving outside of the relationship, and is what you're giving outside the relationship affecting your relationship, right? So if you're giving so much of yourself outside, you're the go-to person at work, you're the number one churchgoer.
Right.
You're the
The
shoulder
person-
that everybody cries on.
You're
for
the person.
friend.
You're the mom that all the kids call, right? Or
Right.
the dad, or right.
Right. So you
It's so
all
many-
that to everybody outside of your relationship. Now, what are you doing on the inside of your relationship?
Are
So
you
that's the
sure?
question.
Are you sure you're giving 100%? Because oftentimes we really do believe we're giving 100%, but we have to be honest with ourselves.
So if you only have so much knowledge,
Right.
and I'm
Exactly.
giving 100% of the little bit of knowledge that I have, I am giving 100%. But once I talk to you and go,
Wow, that's-
I didn't think about that.
I've
Now
never-
my
right.
knowledge has expanded. Like, well, maybe I thought I was doing 100%. Now I'm, maybe not. Maybe I need to look in this area
Mm-hmm.
so I can improve, right? And that's how that happens. So to us and our knowledge, we are given 100% because we're given 100% of the stuff that we know and things that we understand.
And we're constantly growing and trying to find out what more if my marriage is lacking in a certain area, well, it's only lacking because I don't have the knowledge to take it to the next level. Right. So we have to gain that knowledge. And this is one of the things. This is just one of the tools that we give you for free, free ebook. Take it, use it, apply it.
Now, this is tangible stuff. This is stuff that you can use to make yourself better, right? And I want you to be able to look at it, read it, work with it to help your relationship. Because, we're stronger if we're together and we're building stronger homes and relationships. That's it. That's it, right? If you have kids, you want to have a good foundation for the kids to see. You want them to be in a loving environment. So this is what this is all about. So it's a lot of effort and time and energy went into it, a lot of research, and it's for free. Sure, we could have sold it, but why? So, it's a free book. It's a free resource for you guys so you would have something to have.
And maybe all of it doesn't apply to you. Take what applies to you and use it. If it doesn't, give it away. If you have a girlfriend that's constantly, or a male friend that's talking about their marriage, that's talking about their relationship, we're talking about, I'm so sick of this. Share it. Share it. The reason why we're frustrated is because we don't know what to do. We don't know what to do. So if we have tools and other people who have gone through the trenches, don't get blown up, right? Let's stop thinking that divorce is the only option. It's not an option anymore. We're taking that off the table.
Yeah.
So right now, for everyone out there who's married, divorce is not an option. We have to figure out how to make this thing work, and you are in control. So Earl said, never give your mate leftovers.
As soon as I saw that come up, I just cracked up. That's for sure, right? You want the full meal, right? Don't give me some warmed over stuff, right?
That's right. That's
I want
right.
you. I married you. I love you. I'm invested in this relationship. Give me you, right?
And we
give
forget
me,
that.
And well, actually, not just me, but give the relationship you or us.
Right. And we do, and it's normal. It's normal. We do. I'm guilty. I do that.
We all
right?
do it, right.
When I have been
Taking-
stretched in so many places,
Right.
when I get home, I am not trying to cook, clean, wash,
Yeah.
be intimate.
Boy,
I'm not.
You really being honest tonight, boy.
So I'm not
All
really
right.
trying to do. I'm trying to get some me time. But on the flip side of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
We talk about my mate being loving, all those kind of things. The thing is that we can't really give someone else what we don't have. So if I'm not loving myself and I'm not taking care of myself and I'm not nurturing myself, then I very well can't give it to you, and you can't give it back because neither one of us knows what it looks like. Right? I'm looking for you to fill the gap, to make me feel, important, make me feel safe, make me feel. The point is that I have to be able to love myself, know what love looks and feels like for me. Then I'm able to give it to you. And now we're both able to share in it, right? So once I can express to you, I have to love myself. And that's not selfish. That is sanity.
Right.
If I cannot love myself enough to take care of me, how can I expect to take care of someone else? Because I'm going to get depleted. I'm going to get tired. I'm going to get worn out. So is the relationship. That's why we have to be able to renew it.
And that's what I was getting ready to say. You give so much of yourself, then it breeds resentment, anger,
Absolutely, absolutely.
fear, just
Yep,
everything.
yep.
I'm not enough. You're taking advantage of me. All of these different things that come up.
I know oftentimes when we're talking to couples and, one partner or the other is saying, well, they're always saying this, that. And I say, really what they want is love.
That's it.
We don't know how to effectively communicate to our mate what we need, right? Sometimes we need to just know that they're there and they love us, but we don't know this is what we want, so we act out thinking, if I act out, they're going to give me more of what I want. No, you're going to get more of what you've been getting,
Right.
right? And so we
Because
have
now
to
you just done pissed them off and you got on their
or
nerve.
piss them off, right?
Let's say you done pissed them off and you got on their nerve. They're definitely not going to give you what you're looking for. First of all,
Because they're
they don't
not
know what
receiving it.
you're looking for.
And like I said, if you want more love, you have to be more loving.
Right.
You can't expect something that you're not giving. If I'm giving negativity, I can't expect him to say, give me all that negativity, let me give you some love. No, that's not how it works. So we have to be aware of what we're giving. 100% of what? Am I giving 100% of I don't want to be bothered tonight? Am I giving 100% of don't touch me? Am I giving 100% of I'm not present? Right? So what are we
I don't
giving?
want any of those. No, I don't want 100% of none of that.
So yeah, sometimes we think because we're giving 150% in one area, right, or we're giving 200% in another area, that encompasses the whole relationship. It doesn't. What is marriage? Define your marriage with your mate. Define it. Know what intimacy is. Know what each person, would like to have in the relationship, and learn to grow together. Learn to make it a relationship where you both are not only taking care of yourself, but you're taking care of each other. That's right. You have something to say?
I do.
What you have to say?
I just got, I'm ready to get into the.
I know you're ready to get into the program.
Right.
Okay, so taking that to the
Mhm.
next level. So we
Yes.
have the ebook that can help you with, getting your love and relationship back on track, right? As I said, humor us. Download the ebook.
And reply back. Reply
Try-
back. And let
try
me know.
it,
And
send
then
it-
let me know. Let us know what how it worked out for you.
And I would ask you that, as I said before, if you know any relationships, any marriages that are, not expressing or exemplifying what true love and relationships can have, just share the ebook with them.
Yep.
Right?
Well, tell them to go download it for themselves.
Or send them the link. Right?
Yep.
Just help people out, because sometimes we don't know where to go. And so part of that is where Jason is excited to talk about. Our program is, let's bring up the program. You want to talk about it?
There we go. Elevate your marriage.
myself.
Transformational relationship literacy. This is a labor of love. We've been working on this for about 6 months or better. It's a course.
Working on the
Yeah.
final touches for 6 months.
Yeah. This is a course. We walk couples through their marriage from beginning to present, right? So it's a transformational type of program, right? You start one way and you transform and have the relationship that you actually want to have. It's a process. This is not some cookie cutter type deal. It's some serious work that goes on in this program. So if you go to legendaryrelationship.com, you'll see the course, Elevate Your Marriage. And what that does is it allows us to have you book a call with us, and we get on and see if you're a good fit for the program, right? Not everyone is a good fit. Now, we're not counselors, so we're not trying. If you need counseling, we can direct you to where you need to go, right? We're transformationalists, right? We're going to transform you, but it takes two at that, too. So,
We're going to help you to transform your relationship into what you want.
right. So, again, it's Elevate Your Marriage. So if you go to legendaryrelationship.com and then book a call with us, get on. It's about a 30-minute call. We have a conversation, and we'll see if we're a right fit for one another.
And let us tell you this. There is no magic pill. There's no magic wand, right? We can't just, oftentimes we want other people to solve our problems. And that sometimes we go to therapists and counselors because we want somebody to say, I'm right, he's wrong, she's right, he's wrong, they're wrong, right? We want somebody, or we want someone to solve the problem for us. And the truth is that if you get into a marriage and you're not being every day intentional about the decisions that you're making with your relationship and about your relationship and where you want it to go, no one else can help you with that but you. Right? So we're here to help guide you. We're like the GPS. We're like that navigation. Where do you want to go? All right, we're going to help you to get there, but you have to do the driving. Right? So, and not everyone is ready to hear that. Some people love to be negative. Some people love to have negative relationships. That's not the type of people that we want. We want those people who find themselves like, okay, where do we go from here?
Right.
Like we have like things have kind of sizzled out.
Exactly.
Things kind of got a little routine.
Right.
We kind of got
And we
wrapped up in our careers.
And we had that conversation when we had to reconnect. We had to find out, hey, listen,
Absolutely.
we're not clicking on all cylinders here. We need to get back to ourselves, right? We've been, like super busy, and again, you have to keep up with, with careers and all this other stuff. Then you turn around and you're trying to transform ourselves and also the lives of some of the other couples that we work with. We can easily get disconnected.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
And we got to a point where we were like moving, but we wasn't moving in the same direction. So we had to
or
say,
we were just a
stop.
little
Oh, yeah, we
disconnected from each other, right?
Just a little bit off cue, right? But we worked on it. But first of all, we recognized it, right? And once we recognized it, we started to work on it, right? We said, okay, we're not really centered. Let's center
stop.
ourselves.
Let's find out what's going on.
Right.
And so that's part of being aware and intentional in your marriage or in your relationship, even if you aren't married yet and you're moving in that direction. Oftentimes we think that marriage is the ultimate goal, right? But the thing is that marriage is the beginning, is not the end. People say, well, I want to get married. Well, you want to get married to have what? To have what type of marriage?
Right.
And so that's where we come in. What type of marriage do you want?
Right.
What are you willing to put in and do to get that type of relationship?
Right. And who do you need to become to have the marriage that you want?
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's all about elevation. And so the title of our program is to elevate your marriage. What does that mean? Does that mean stay the same? No, that means that we're
Absolutely
all,
not.
if you're looking to stay the same, then by all means
you're
stay
gonna
the
get
same.
what you've been getting. And
So-
that's been proven over and over again.
But the goal in life, whether it's in marriage and anything, is always to elevate. You always want to be the best version of yourself, which means that there's something that you can do better each and every day. All right, so I think I think that was my cue winding up. But guys, go out. Download the ebook, listen to the podcast, especially for all of you successful women who may be struggling with careers and marriage, and you just need a little help. Go listen to this week's episode. Jason's going to put it on the screen.
I sure am. But you know what? It's for the men as well, too, right? Why? Because you have to be able to support the woman when she gets home, right? So we all have a part to play in this relationship. So don't think it's just about the women. Go listen to it and see what part you can possibly play in the relationship and how to help that along.
So I know that there are single moms out there, right, who have to do everything.
For sure.
Right? And so sometimes we get that in our minds that we have to do everything. But there are also married women who take on that same role and responsibility. And then, as you said, they become resentful because their spouse is not doing more and they want them to do more. But we have started the relationship where we're doing everything.
Yep.
And now we want our mate to just automatically to just jump up and start doing things, right? They have no idea what you're talking about. Well, why, it's always worked like this. Why would things change now? So we have to be able to understand, how do we incorporate each other? How do we understand when we need to have a very effective conversation as to what we need, what our expectations are that are reasonable, what we need from our mate in a very respectful way. So
and also just not feeling guilty when you allow the male to do something. Like, he didn't do it right. He didn't do it the way that I would do it. Now I'm upset, and I feel so bad that I put the kids in this predicament that the dad didn't do this the way that I wanted to have it.
Or we often fall in the same token with that, right? Most women say, "Can you do this?" And then when the man does it, well, I wouldn't have done it that way.
Yep.
We have to let go.
And,
everybody's not
that
going
goes
to do
both
things.
ways too. The males do that too. So
Everybody's not going to do things the way you do it.
Right.
The problem is that did it get done?
Right.
So we have to let go. Like, sometimes we hold on so tight and then we get resentful, but sometimes we just have to release and trust that it is going to get done. It may not be
It will
my
get
way,
done, but it may not be the way that
there
you
is no
want.
right way, right?
Right.
As the old saying says, there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yep.
Right? There's more than one way to a place. You can go this way, you can go that way. The point is that you still end up in the same place. So we have to know that in relationships, sometimes we got to, it may not be the way we want it done, but it's done. It's done. And I know, what is this?
Lenise said, as long as you get it done.
As long as it gets done. It's so funny because my
get it done.
During Christmas when we were at my sister's house in Florida, you know,
are you going to tell another story about your sister? Are they going to get upset? Or
I don't know. I don't know if they're going to get upset, but it's so, you know,
Okay.
I'm always around family.
Yep.
So my niece, I asked her, I said, why don't you, put the dishes in the dishwasher? She was like, nope. I was like, why? She was like, because if I put the dishes in the dishwasher, my mom's just going to come behind me, rearrange them, put them the way she wants them, and then start it. And I'm like, what? She was like, watch. And for sure,
wow. That's another
it's like
story. Yep.
letting go. So what?
You're definitely going to get a phone call.
I know, right? Let it go. Like she may not stack them up the way you want, as long as the dishes get clean.
And that's one less thing you need to do. You need to
And
let
we
some things
worry
go right.
ourselves, and then
as
we
long as
wonder-
the dishes get clean.
And then we wonder why we're just like so drained by everything, right?
Yeah.
And so we're why don't people help? Well, they don't help because when they try to help, that's not the way I would have done it, right? So I had to learn to let go of that, right? We have to learn to, as Lenise said, as long as it gets done.
That's right.
You know, I'll ask my daughter to mop the floor and I'll come back and it'll be spots all over. But guess what? She mopped it.
Yeah.
And then if I don't like it, I'll just remop it. But the point
If
is
you
that
wanna put
I
that
have
much
to
energy
trust.
into it,
I have
yeah.
to trust that she's able to do it and just let it go.
Right.
Like it's not
And
that
she
big of a
can.
deal.
Right.
And so we have to be able to just realize that there's so many different aspects to marriage. There's so many different aspects to relationships. There's so many aspects to us. So many different, things that make us tick. But we have to learn how to tick together, right?
No, for
If
sure
that
we
makes
do.
sense,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, we do. We have to click together. We have to just be in the thing together. Listen, we're in something here with two people, right? So two individuals come together as a couple, and it takes a little bit of work to make this thing work, right? It takes some effort. It takes some love. It takes some patience,
Understanding,
communication,
some prayer.
and some love. I mean, the list go on and on. You start
list
naming,
goes-
you can't stop.
Right,
Right?
the list goes on and on. So
Right.
the total sum of all of this, guys, is that if you want better, we have to do better, and not just in one area of
Oh,
our,
that's
of
another
our lives.
T-shirt right there. If you want better, you gotta do better. I like that.
And that's in all areas of our lives,
Yep.
right? So we have to make sure that we're giving. Sometimes we need a little bit more than 100%,
Yeah.
and sometimes we have to stop taking for granted those who are closest to us, right? A lot of prayer. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
I don't even know how,
Yeah, a lot of prayer. And you know what? What needs to go along with that prayer, Lenise? A lot of communication. So we praying for whatever it is we may be praying for, whether it be for the situation to change or our spouse to change or whatever. But we need to.
we don't pray for our spouse to change.
I know we.
You may.
don't.
Do you be praying for your spouse to change?
Nope, I love you just the way you are. Nope. You
So,
don't get me with that one.
the thing
but
is
what
that
I'm saying is,
You praying about situations.
you're
right.
praying about situations, but what goes along with that is the communication part, bringing the spouse in about that prayer or having prayer together. Right? It's a way to communicate and express yourself with each other. So not only just prayer, but also prayer and communicate with the person that you-
Pray that we change us. Pray that you change. Your outlook changes on the situation, which helps the situation.
But it should
change.
spawn. But it should still spawn.
Oh, I didn't say that. Yeah,
conversation.
conversation.
Right,
Yeah,
right, right,
absolutely,
right. That's what
absolutely,
helps, right.
absolutely. I'm just saying that sometimes what we need to pray about is that me. So
Right.
if I'm having this issue with whatever it is going on with you or my household or whatever, sometimes I just need to pray that I come to the realization of what I need to do. Right? It's not that somebody else needs to change. It's not that the situation needs to change. It's that I need to change my outlook and what I'm doing because I may be the one that's fueling the fire and don't even realize it. Right?
Right.
Again, letting go of those dishes. Right?
Right.
I may be the one that if I let go and let God, maybe the whole situation will change.
Yep.
Stay compassionate and assume the best. All right, that's right.
That is excellent, right? It's all about your outlook too.
So Lenise said, yes, that's right, Lenise. Yes, right? If I change, the whole situation will change. That's right. And what does the next thing say?
Yeah, it says that's true. Helps the niece.
That's right. That's
Yep.
right. Because sometimes we think that we have the answer.
Right, and
We
we do
think
have
we
to
know
take
it all.
that.
We think that the answer has to be the way we see it and
Well,
the
that's
way
the only-
we want it, right?
Well, it's just like I said last week. It's about Googling. All right, when you Google things, you Google things that you really want to know the answer to. You don't Google the flip side of that. If you want to know how to do something, you Google just that. How do I do this? Not the other side.
So,
from the
so
other
explain
person's
what you
point of
had said
view.
before, right? Right. So, for example, what do you mean by that?
I mean, like you say, how do I?
Get my my spouse to love me more. or
Well, how do I
something?
get my spouse to love me? Right? When you Google that, it's gonna give you everything to make your spouse love you. It's like, well, or you can just turn around and say, what can I do
To love my mate.
To love my mate, right? And that's
Right.
the flip side, because in the end, that's what it is. So Google the other side of whatever you're Googling, because you're all going on you're going on your own knowing, and you're going, hey, listen, I want to be this, or I want to do this, but flip it the other way. It's always two ways to get somewhere, right? So you say, well, how do I get here? And now the maps even say, well, you can take this route, but if you want to do a bypass, sometimes it's a little longer, but you can take the other route. So just that's the concept I want you to grasp here. Google both sides of the situation or the question.
We always Googling from our perspective, right?
Because that's the only thing we know, and that's why we intake our news the same way too.
Instead of what am I doing wrong? Why my relationship is going wrong?
Right.
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 So what can I do to help communication get better?
Right.
So we're always looking for, how do I get my mate to communicate? Or how do I get
Right.
communicate?
How do I get my mate to do something? Or you should maybe Google, how do I start to do something a little different, right? So because the mate may want the same thing that you're looking for. So
the thing is that see both sides of the coin.
Oh, yeah, for
right?
sure.
Not just from your perspective. Sometimes we need to pray that we're able to see the situation in a different light, because sometimes we're too close to it and we're too involved and we're too emotional in it that we don't want to change and we don't want to see it in a different light.
Yep.
So sometimes it takes us, taking a different perspective. That's why I always like to see things from the other person's perspective. But again, our course or our program is Elevate Your Marriage. It's for transformational relationship literacy. So, of course, just like we have financial literacy and this is on relationships. This is relationship literacy. This is helping us to understand the ABCs of relationships and how to get from point A to point B without stopping at the divorce court in between.
right.
All right.
So if you go to legendaryrelationship.com and you click on course, you'll see that. And what that's going to do is just allow you to book a call with us, because we have to get on the call to see if you're a good fit.
All right. So I think that sums it up for us. I know sometimes, guys, I listen back to these recordings and I'm talking so fast and my mind is going fast. I'm like, that's
But
not
you
even
do, but
that's
you-
not even a word.
but you
Like,
get it
and then
out.
sometimes Jason's
But you
like,
get everything out, baby. That's all that matters.
so if you
right?
guys hear a wrong word or mispronunciation, it's because I was talking so fast and I was probably trying to
by
say
the
the
time it
next
got
word.
out of your head into
Yeah,
your,
yeah.
I don't worry about it. And also, don't forget about the ebook.
Yes,
right?
the ebooks.
free.
So, and definitely give it to newlyweds, right? So if anybody
Yeah.
knows anyone who has recently gotten married and we want to wake them up with the reality of marriage is not an automatic thing. You cannot put it on automatic pilot, that you
No.
actually have to drive it or fly it. Please let them be aware of this so that they can have a healthy, happy, and loving longevity relationship,
And
right?
you have
With
to-
love and intimacy, respect and kindness, passion, and all that other stuff.
Yes, you do. You have to pay attention, right? You have to be intentional, right? I know
All right.
we use that word a lot, but all right. So I think it's time for us to get out of here.
It is. So if you have not had the opportunity to listen to some of the past, conversations that have been really enlightening and really fun, please go back and look at our Friday Night Live. You can catch them all on YouTube or listen to our podcast. Do you have a thing for where they can get the podcast? Well, I guess I could just tell you. Want to tell you if you have not listened to the podcast, our podcast drops every Wednesday.
Yep.
That's when a new episode drops. But you can listen to it anytime.
If they want the whole entire libraries, while you're over on legendaryrelationship.com, you can just click on podcast and the whole entire library will be there, and you can play it right in your browser if it's easier for you.
And don't forget, or you can go to YouTube and you can check it out. But whatever you do,
but what's
or
the
you can
YouTube
go
channel?
wherever.
The YouTube channel is lovingbeyondtheido.com.
And don't forget,
I'm sorry, it's Loving
Beyond
Beyond
the
the
I
I
Do.
Do.
Love and Beyond the I Do.
Right.
So
YouTube.
also, if you want to know when a new episode comes out, subscribe. So hit that, put a little love on that subscribe button. It will let you know when a new episode comes out. It'll let you know when we're doing things. Also, we thank you for tuning in tonight. Does
Yep.
anyone have any other questions or comments? We're all about relationships. So every week we're going to try to bring you a topic in relationships. And so hopefully we can get the word out where Jason and I, we are being divorce busters. So there is no reason why we cannot have good relationships
Yes.
the first year, the 5th year, the 10th year, and the 100th year
That's
and
right.
beyond. It all depends on what you want in your marriage and what are you doing to get it.
It's all about what you put into it. So
Absolutely.
and we'll show you how to work. We're going to show you how to put that work in, baby.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I think that wraps up another episode or another Friday Night Live for
Yeah.
us. That wraps up
I think
another
you like
live.
saying that.
And so just remember, as always, we're in it to win it.
Thanks, everybody. We really appreciate you coming in and tuning in.
Have a
Peace.
great weekend.